What's going on, guys? I wanted to make a little training video here and maybe discuss and kind of train a little bit on how I'm using the big chart. Now, I've got a bunch of videos in here already on the big chart. It's not something that I go over a lot because, quite frankly, it's a lot, right? There's a lot going on this chart. Um, there's a lot of moving parts, but more importantly, the big thing about this big chart here is that's just what I call it. Is it requires a lot of patience. And I know as scalpers and as day traders, that's one thing we lack. We lack patience. But if you have patience and you wait for some of these bigger levels to confirm, you normally find really, really good trades. And case in point is today. So if you kind of look at this chart, look at all of this mess, right? It's we can barely even see what's going on in this area, right? Between yesterday and today. We have so many moving averages. And if you're curious about some of the moving averages that I have the 5 SMA, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100, the 150, the 200, and I've got linear regressions and Bollinger Bands. Okay. So there's a lot going on here, but it keeps you out of the noise. But here's the caveat. You have to be patient, right? Like, so when you run into a day like yesterday, I took a handful of trades, but I knew that I was trading inside of the mud and I wasn't really expecting much. Like I was just trying to scalp a couple points here, scalp a couple points there. If you look at yesterday's price action, this is a 1 hour chart we're looking at, by the way. We were holding the 200, which is down here. We were trapped above the 50 and the 100 simple up here. So I knew that unless we got below this 200, there wasn't going to be a lot of room. Unless we started to clear and close out over the 50 and 100, there wasn't going to be a lot of room. Everything else in between is all basically just BS. It's all noise. And that's one thing that a lot of traders don't want to hear is they want to know that, or they want to have the idea that they can come into the markets and every day it's just going to be like today, right? Where you just flush 200 points and then you bounce 200 points and you flush 200 points. But truth be told, there's a lot more days in the month that are like this, a lot more days that are like this, a lot more days that are like this. Now, it doesn't mean that necessarily you can't find trades, because if you go back here to Thursday, right? Go back here to last Thursday. In the pre-market, we kind of dropped and we bounced off of this 100 simple and 100 EMA. So unless we gave that up, we're kind of looking for longs off the bell, right? And notice how this opening drive here got confirmed at the 7 o'clock hour, which was your 30-minute opening range. And there was nothing here until the linear regression. So you could have taken a scalp, right? But once we fell back down and failed to confirm, there was realistically nothing more to do. It's like a little down, little up, little down, little up, right? Look at this day here, right off the open. Not only do we flush through the 100 simple, we flush through the 100 EMA. Well, there's an opportunity here to get in through the previous day channel and take this into the linear regression, right? So you got a little bit of a spot where you can try to make some cash. But you got to wait for it, right? You got to wait for us to get below this demand to play it into this demand. Okay? Just like today, you got to wait for us here off the open to clear out yesterday's channel. That opens up this big space. That opens up this big gap, but you got to wait for it, right? And even when you clear it out, you probably, would need a following candle to confirm that, right? Now you can definitely take the scalp on the first entry. It just require you to be a little bit more in and outy, right? Like where you're jumping in on some momentum, you're getting in, you're getting green, you're getting out. If you're waiting for like a bigger move, we'll just let it break that previous day channel. You already know we've got nothing down below. Wait for price action to come back and get you right here. So if you are finding yourself getting into trouble on a day-to-day basis or not really understanding what the price is doing, sometimes it's simply because you're taking trades just in between too much crap. My whole theory, whether it's the 20 SMA, whether it's an orb, whether it's the big chart, linear regressions, my theory is the same. Stocks travel from supply to supply, demand to demand. And what I'm trying to do is get in on a breakdown of demand and take a little piece of that into the next area of demand. Not the whole thing, just a piece of it. My theory is when we break through supply, get in on the confirmation, and take a little piece of it into the next area of supply. Now, the problem, like yesterday, is we break demand. I'll give you an example. We break demand 5 SMA, but we have supply 10 SMA, linear regression, right above it. So even if it does want to get up in there, it's so minuscule. This is not enough room. We can get rejected halfway, pull back. And we're going to go short, but you got support here. And then you want to take this breakdown of this 200 EMA, but you have the 200 SMA. So it's like there was no real room to work. We didn't have any room to breathe. So just be patient, allow for some of these things to get cleared out, and you're going to see the chart and the price action a lot better. Get out of the mindset of trying to, okay, market's open, where's the market going? You're like a chicken with the head cut off, right? And we all do it. Where's the market going? Okay, we're going long, going short. Okay, here's a little play on a 2-minute chart. Here's a play on a 5-minute chart. And it's like, realistically, you're getting chopped up. You take a big loss and you're wondering, what the hell just happened? What the hell just happened was you were probably trading in between a lot of mud. You really want to clear out supply. Like for me, right now, this is a good opportunity to get in on a bounce. So if you have a bounce opportunity on a smaller time frame, sure. As long as we're not giving up this low, sit in a bounce. We have room all the way up to 23,611. We get over the previous hour channel, we've got room into 23,611, 614, right? But in order for this chart to really go up and have every single move be looking for that bounce opportunity, market needs to get back over 23,800, and that's about 300 points away. So we would need to clear out this top channel. And then now look at all this room we have up here. So until we do that, these bounces into here, into here, into here are all opportunities to play rejection short. Even if it's grinding to this 5 and grinding to this 10 and grinding to this 20. Well, you can get in here, and as long as it's holding, play it from here to here. Play it from here to here. Okay? But when you're stacked up, like right here, look at this 200 SMA, 50 EMA, 50 SMA. This is stacked. There's no room there. There's no room here. You need at least a little bit of a gap, right? You need a little bit of a gap. So hope that kind of helps you. Just want to give you guys some context on how I use a big chart and why it's so beneficial. But again, the number one thing here with the big chart, it requires extreme patience, because a lot of the times what you really want to see is the bigger time frames confirm and have space. So that way you can now utilize your small time frames to capture a portion, a piece of that bigger move. That's it. A lot of this theory, a lot of this strategy revolves on waiting for things to develop. That's all you're doing. Your whole job is to wait for things to develop. And I feel like a lot of traders feel like their job is to, okay, I'm trying to predict where this next candle's going. Okay, I'm trying to predict exactly where I need to top this candle out or bottom this candle out. And it's like, realistically, you're probably only getting about one move, 2 if you're lucky, and everything else in between is just taking little pieces of that one move or that 2 moves. Like today, there's only been one move. It's been down. The second move is barely starting here. It's the bounce. But again, we don't know if it's going to continue to bounce, but theoretically speaking, this would be the start of move 2. And that start of move 2 can also be a dead cat bounce into supply for a continuation down. So again, until you clear out a previous channel, which is the previous candle low or previous candle high, you don't know what this is going to do yet. This is the start of move 2, right? So be patient. utilize a lot more supply and demand zones and actually wait for something to happen versus trying to anticipate what's happening. Hope that makes sense.